Today on the podcast, we're talking hype men, carnies, and the plains. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindbergh. Many of you know me from my second place showing at the Kansas City Air Guitar Competition last Friday night.
Congratulations.
Yes, and if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, quick aside on the Kansas City Air Guitar Competition. If you haven't listened to our episode with Mean Moline, I won't go heavy into the guitar competition. I will say this. I am sore. At my neck, I woke up the other day, my neck has been killing me. I lost by 0.1. 0.1. It was the first ever air off in Kansas City air guitar competition history.
Wow.
What
was your song?
So I did, because, you know, you got to have like a character and you got to have, so I was Air Lindbergh, you know.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So, and I had a full pilot's costume, like a
That's
full
awesome.
1920s airplane pilot with the scarf and the hat and the goggles.
Yeah.
And I came out to I edited a version of Let There Be Rock by AC/DC.
Sure.
And I did my whole shtick. You know, I was a very pompous pilot.
Yeah.
And then I did really well. I got like 4 6s and like a 5.9, and they dropped the lowest and the highest score,
So
right?
you aced it.
So I did really great the first round. So the top 5 get to go to the second round. And in the second round, it's a mystery song. You don't know what it is. So you have to basically come up with it on the spot. And since I was tied for first after the first round, I got to listen to the song multiple times. And it was Faith No More. What is it?
Yeah, they say what is it?
What
Yeah.
is it? And, you know, the solo on that. And so it did really well. And so then, usually that would determine the winner. Well, we tied again. And then they played one more song. It was an air off. And I thought they should have done the air off differently. It wasn't, we didn't go at the same time. We had to like, it was, you listen to it one time and then we picked a number and I got to go second. And it was an Andrew WK party song. And, you know, so it was just very like, you know, party, you know, and just like rock and roll. And I basically headbutt banged the whole time, you know, and I lost by 0.1 to, you ready for this? This
Yeah.
is who I lost to. And she was great. Her name was Rochelle, the Virgin Airy. She's 5.5 months pregnant, and she was jumping around on stage. And anyway, long story short, it was my first ever competition, and I got second.
That's awesome. Where was it?
It was at the record bar.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it was at the record bar, and it was. I had a lot of people cheering me on, chanting 6.0 because the deal is you want to get 3 6s, you want to get 666.
It's like old figure skating.
Yeah,
scoring.
yeah, exactly. It's like 4 to 6, and Afintra, one of the judges, she said that I scared her.
So is that good or bad?
Well, no, she gave me a 6.
Okay.
So I think she just. Yeah, but anyway, besides the point, I am aching in pain right now.
Did you have those puffy pants like
I
joggers?
did. I had the puffy pants. I had the scarf. I had like a white shirt with a black tie. I'll show you a photo.
That sounds great.
I came out just really angry, and I stayed in character the whole time.
That sounds fun.
It was a blast. I had a great time. I'm getting over the loss because it was so close by 0.1. But she's been doing air guitar for like ever.
But if you were to win, you beat a woman who was 5.5 months pregnant. So that wouldn't really be like that. Would have to.
Yeah, you've got a point.
I mean,
well, I'm hoping that's because so she now gets to go to New York for the. She basically national qualifier, and when she goes to New York, she's going to be like 30 some odd weeks pregnant. So I hope
that's going to be trickier.
Yeah, it's going to be. So I hope she's going to be okay. But she was awesome. Like she was great. But I was very surprised by my first outing as Air Lindbergh. I almost want to just never do it again and just go down in legend.
You've probably been practicing in your own way for years. Like everything has been leading.
Well, I've been
up
playing
to
air
that
guitar
moment.
since I was a small child.
Sure.
I've been playing real guitar too, but air guitar is more fun because you can do all the crazy stuff.
I'm really good at steering wheel drums. That's my.
You've been doing them on the mic as well.
I'm good.
Do you hear the tip tap tapping? That's.
I like the steering wheel drums.
The steering wheel drums. All right. We'll get to you in just a second
sure,
here.
that's fine.
But each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we're joined by one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains. And I am joined today by, he is a teacher. He's a writer. He is a photographer. He's a man about town. Mark Luce. Mark Luce, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've already heard his voice already. Now you know who he is.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mystery guest.
Who
is this guy?
Who is this guy? Hey, don't read it in the title. That's what I should do. I should just not put the name of the people in the title. Guest. Today's mystery guest. Mark, you're involved in many things. We're going to talk about some of the projects you're working on and things like that. But thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. Okay, Mark, you're involved in many things. You're a man about town. Okay, you have many different projects that you're working on. Let's talk about one. It's called the Plains Project.
Yes.
And from my understanding, because I wrote down some information here, that's because it's described as it explores life on the plains through photography and fiction. And so why don't you give us an idea of what the Plains Project is?
Okay, so a couple summers ago, I was lucky enough to be an artist in residence in Lindsborg, Kansas for about a month. It was at the Raymer Society in Lindsborg. They give you a place to stay, and they give you a little workspace. And
you're like the cool guy on campus.
You're in Lindsborg. I was the big man on campus.
the man about town.
Yes, the man about. Okay. There were three places to go.
Okay.
The coffee shop.
Yeah.
The bar/restaurant.
Okay.
And the house where I stayed.
Okay, great.
And so years before, I had done a photo project where I had driven around where I grew up in central Kansas, and everything looked different. Everything was kind of falling apart, and I happened to have a camera with me that day, and so I just shot a few pictures, and it sort of spoke to me in a way, so I decided that I would try to do something with picture and words together.
Okay.
And so that was probably 7 years ago, and I had a show at the Barstow School where I teach. I had a show at the Bourgeois Pig in Lawrence, and so basically told these stories that were kind of autobiographical, of grandparents or relatives or people I knew or people from sort of where we lived out in the country. And I liked it. I thought that they worked together nicely. And but then I went start taking pictures of super up close things, and moved away from the words because I wasn't as interested in the words. And then for the last few years, I've had this, or maybe last 5 years, I've had this idea of sending people postcards so that
I don't think I can remember the last time I got a postcard.
When do you get real mail? It's very rare.
Other than bills.
Right, you get bills.
You get bills.
You get a little flyer with, get your cheap ribs at Hy-Vee.
Or check out this new, you're pre-qualified for this credit card.
Right, you're or like, hey, do you need hail damage? Need roofing?
Right.
So I'd always had this idea of, wouldn't it be cool over the course of the year to write a postcard a day and send it? And
to who?
To whomever. To people you know, to people you don't know.
Yeah.
And so when I sort of hatched this plan, that was the thing. I'm going to find 365 images.
Okay.
And then I'm going to write X amount of stories. And for each day, on each postcard, I'll put a sentence or two of the fiction and address the other side to them. And then on the bottom of the card was a website.
Yeah.
So they could go and read the rest of that story.
Oh, okay.
So it is a complicated way, but there's a mystery kind of, like there's fun. Like, hey, I got a postcard.
Oh, okay.
And then
so
you read the sentence and it has no context whatsoever.
Oh, so you'd look at the image on the card, go to the website, find that image, click on the image, and then read it?
So when you would get to, so imagine, so you get a postcard.
Yeah, okay.
And the postcard has a sentence on it.
Okay.
From a piece of fiction.
Okay.
So you read this piece and you're like, I don't know what this is.
Right.
Oh, perhaps I should go to this website.
Okay.
So you go to the website, and when you get there, what you're going to see is on the top, you'll see sort of, on one side, you'll see sort of images, and on the other side, you'll see text.
Got it.
And so let's say a sentence was, say a story was 30 sentences, then there would be about 30 pictures. And so you could see what other pictures were with it, and then you could read the rest of the story as well.
Ah, okay, I got it.
And so the idea was try to choose them randomly. Mm-hmm. Like don't make a big production of like sort of who gets what or what order they go in or try to make a match. It was pull them out randomly and then address them and send them. Okay. And so and the response was, hey, people said nice things. I don't know. There's no real way to measure it.
It's like response.
Yeah, some people are like, hey, I got this. I don't know what to do. And I would say like, oh, hey, you need to go to this website. So, I guess in some ways I am asking them to do something other than read it, but I couldn't write the whole story on the postcards. So.
Right.
And it just seemed kind of an interesting way of doing things. And so in that month, I got about all the images that I need. I spent, I was either shooting or editing. And then the rest of that summer, I wrote a little bit, and then in bits and pieces throughout last year, I would kind of fill in. But surprisingly, I ended with what was really kind of a nonfiction piece. Most of the other ones had been fiction or thinly disguised fiction. And the last one, I just wrote an essay about an accident that I came upon sort of late near these other accidents of consequence that I had experienced when I was younger, all sort of on this particular road. So it was I actually kind of rather enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And, I started the project, one, as a creative outlet, but also, thinking that if you sort of go back to where you grew up and address your past, and that you can kind of bury some ghosts.
Right.
But I realized about halfway through the writing, it's like, you can't bury a ghost. Like that's because they're a ghost.
Because that's impossible.
Right, they're a ghost.
Yes.
So I think that what I got out of it was a sense of just a sort of sense of peace over sometimes rough and tumble past that you don't have to bury them, you just need to make peace with them.
Right. Well, did the images inspire what came first? Was it all kind of at the same time, or were you taking an image and then it kind of came to you, or because if it started as fiction and then it kind of just worked its way into more, nonfiction, even if it was thinly veiled and everything, was it kind of like, oh, this reminds me of this, or was it just like I need an image to complement this story?
No, I really didn't. I tended to think of the pictures as separate.
Okay.
I tended to think of the pictures as... So, I shot... I talked my way into a press pass at the Salina Speedway.
Oh, okay.
So I got to go, in the pits, which really aren't the pits. It's, part of the parking lot.
Right.
And be in a different place and actually photograph people.
Yeah.
Because most of the stuff I photograph is broken stuff. If something looks sort of down and out or beaten or weathered or seasoned, then I'm sort of very interested in that.
Yeah.
It's all came from sort of thinking about how things endure. And so that's really kind of for me,
and how it changes over time.
How it changes over time. And I always thought that what was interesting was people left, right? And here's what they leave.
Oh, okay.
But actually, the more that I shot, the more I realized it's no, these things are still standing here. And granted, they might be broken, but those places have stories. And so for me, it was a matter of trying to kind of tap into those stories. And not necessarily I see one thing and oh, who lived here? Oh, it was Mary, and she did this. But
right.
More having my own kind of ideas about stories and then sort of figuring out how they filter in different ways. And so really kind of moving away from the one-to-one and let a viewer make those connections instead. So it was it was wonderful. And So I sent my last postcard in January. I have more postcards, and I'm still trying to figure out. I've got 2 full sets, and so I'm trying to figure out: do I try to sell them? Do I try to put up a show and maybe combine all the ones from one story into sort of a large, like super large format picture?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, the thing is that once you start taking those steps into trying to make money off of it, then it sort of loses some of its allure.
Right.
And so it's sort of a catch-22. Like you want to make a little bit of money so that maybe you can get a nicer camera, but at the same time, it's like, what does that do? And I just don't know. Like, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, and I'm not sure what's next. I think one of the places that I shot when I was in, it was outside of Salina. I shot, and I've done this a couple times now. I've shot at a salvage yard.
Yeah.
And
you find a lot of old rusty stuff there.
Yeah, a lot of old rusty stuff, and a lot of kind of interesting, like the way that metal rusts, the way that paint flakes, kind of inside of cars, just junk.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of fascinated by, like, how does it end up there? What are people doing with it? Why is it really there?
Right. Like
no one's coming to buy it.
Yeah. So it's just sitting here, doing nothing. Yeah.
You've got like 72 Winnebago with orange carpeting.
Yeah.
No one's looking at that for parts. No one's coming in like, hey, you know what? I need a fuel pump off a 72 Winnebago. Oh, hey, wait, I got it right here.
You would not believe what I have in store for you, sir.
It's your lucky day.
72 Winnebago. What? I got 3 of them out back.
So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the next sort of project will be.
But where did the fascination of all that come from, though? Because, like, I'm sure it had to, like, you didn't grow up around junkyards and salvage yards, did you? Or was it?
No.
Or is it just the idea of, like, the change and, like, all that stuff has a story? Like,
I think that
it changes over time.
So in when I was a kid in the summers, we would stay at my grandparents, and they lived out in the country outside of Salina. Technically, the town is Culver, but they didn't live in the town. And the town is like there's like 50 people.
Yeah.
And so we did your typical farm boy stay. It's like you bale hay.
Yep.
You shoot birds.
Yep.
You feed the cows.
Yep. Run around the pond.
Yep. Check the trout line. Catch some fish. Get in the rowboat and goof off.
Yep. Get in the dinghy. Yep. Get in the dinghy.
Then know when at 6:00 you need to go in because Grandma's going to have, chicken fried steak, green beans.
Right.
The typical.
Yes.
So all summer we would do that, and I met a bunch of my grandpa's friends. He's like cussing Paul Roar and these kind of characters. We're just totally elderly couple. His name was Jess, and her name was like Jess and Janie or something like that. But just like old farm stock people.
Yeah.
Like 80s, but still sort of being farmers.
Right.
And my grandpa, we'd go down to the Nickerson Farms, and he would have his coffee in the afternoon and basically talk with his other dudes. And it's like the kind of stuff that you find yourself doing now. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the coffee shop and hang out with my people and tell lies.
Yeah.
And so I think when I got older, well, that's what you do, right? You just go there and make stuff up. Like, hey, what are you doing?
I
got this going on there.
The other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It depends on whoever gets there first. Whoever starts, the level of indignation can just sort of skyrocket.
It's the one-upmanship, of
you think that's bad? You know what I heard?
You're not gonna believe what you saw that. You're not gonna believe what happened to me that last week. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think that I might have been a one-upper at one point in my life, but I just don't care at this point. I'm not gonna be in a competition with someone to. Oh yeah, okay, you're cooler. That's fine. Yeah. It's just not worth it.
No.
So my grandpa's talking with his buddies at the Nickerson Farms, which is now all abandoned and beat up, and it really was. I was at home. My dad my folks lived out in the country, and in my grandpa's house that he built, and it was Thanksgiving, and everybody was just really getting on my last nerve. And so I just hopped in the car and I drove around the neighborhood, and I just happened to shoot some pictures.
Yeah.
And I went to this place where we used to think this house was haunted. Then the house got ripped down, but there was still like some outbuilding stuff and just trash and tires and whatnot. And I started shooting it, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And the more I started thinking about it, it's like, well, I do have kind of a story to tell. So how do I want to tell those stories, and what fashion do I want to tell those stories? And it just kind of came. But then what I found was that, I was shooting sort of like medium length stuff, not really close up. So you could still kind of tell what it was.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, that's a door. Or, but no barns.
That's a piece of Winnebago.
Yeah, right, that's a piece of Winnebago.
Yeah.
And very deliberately not like, oh, look at the pretty barn. Not that kind of stuff. Or, what a gorgeous sunset.
Yeah. Look at the way the grass
waves. No thanks. No thanks. And so I basically just started pushing the camera forward, and what I found was, to me, was absolutely fascinating. You find these basically like maps. Like there's cracks and caverns and chips, and the paint looks different, or the wood's weathered differently. And so I just kept kind of pushing my camera closer, as close as it could get, and sort of fascinated by the abstract stuff. And so now I think I've found kind of a balance in between the too close. I switched lenses and shoot with just a 35 millimeter lens, like no zoom, no nothing. And it changes the way you shoot. Like, I can't, like, stand back and be like, oh, I like that, but I'm scared of that dog. So I'm going to do it from here. Instead, I have to go.
No, you got to go.
You got to be, it's real.
You got to get up close.
You got to get up close. And so that was huge for me. And I think, too, that at some point I discovered, you always find out stuff, like, you figure stuff out, like, way too late. Like, you've been doing this type of work for 7-8 years, and then I took this one picture of, it was like a tractor or a planter, and it had just a welding scar across it, almost like a check mark. And when I was editing them that night, I'd like shoot all day and then take them back to the little house and put them on the screen, and it's like, oh, it's about tears and scars. Like
yeah.
I'll be darned. It took me, like, way to go, professor of literature. Good job. Way to see that symbolism. Only, and that was, that nice unlocked. That it hit you. Well, and that sort of unlocked a whole other thing. So it's like figuring out that it's not about burying the ghost. It's sort of about, making a peace with the past, and then sort of like, how do scars heal?
Yeah.
And so, like that, for me, that was great. Yeah. Like, whether that comes through, and
everybody has their own opinion on when they're looking at stuff anyway. When I was looking at, because I spent a lot of time looking at the photos you had done and stuff, and I like looking at a lot of, like, old stuff too, because I'm always fascinated, kind of like you, like, why was this left behind, or where the hell did this come from, basically?
Why are there 2 pianos in a little tiny building in Roxbury, Kansas, like, right by the side of the road?
Yes. Weird stuff like
with
that.
a washing machine. Like, there's 2 pianos and a washing machine. Like, what?
And they're just sitting there.
What happened here?
Yeah, it's like, did Acme go out of business or something? What's going on?
And I like, too, I mean, that's where I grew up in central Kansas, so I like that. I really like the land. Like, I really like the space. And so, it was never about, like, oh my gosh, like, these poor people, like, everybody's leaving and these towns are going to die. It's like, yeah, that happens, and that's bad. But I'm not interested in sort of the political part of that. I mean, I think that's an interesting topic. It's just not. Yeah. It's not something I don't want to be, like, overly political in my creative.
I got you.
Stuff.
Yeah, and looking at I totally understand. How often do you get to go out and shoot now? Do you still go out and shoot? Like where? Do you feel like you've reached?
We just went to the.
There's plenty of old towns to go and shoot, or old, like, things to go. Well, look the thing is,
I always shoot in Kansas because I grew up in Kansas, so I never shot in Missouri for real. We were in the Flint Hills a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Jen took us out to Clover Cliff Ranch for a night and ate at the hotel in Cottonwood Falls, and there's a little town there that I'd shot before, but there was more broken stuff, like a lot more broken stuff that was open. So that's when you're excited. It's like when it's broken and it's open, and there's no trespassing signs, that's the best.
Yeah.
And I always follow the rules when it comes to the no trespassing signs, right? Never break those rules ever. But I just didn't, we were there together, and it's like, if I'm going to go do that, I'm going to be gone for 3.5 hours, and just, I'll probably go out in July.
Yeah.
I'm interested in, I've done a couple sort of exploratory things in the city.
Really?
Kind of looking for, mostly in alleys, like what's in an alley, what are alleys used for, who's there, why are they there?
What all the crazy changes going on around like these old alleys? That, all these buildings are getting refurbished and everything, are getting turned into places, and
and there's also some interesting places down by kind of where the haunted houses are,
West Palm,
but on the more towards the Kansas side, like kind of in the back of it.
Okay.
And even across the bridge on the KCK side, there's a little area that's kind of interesting. So I'll probably do some exploring down there.
Yeah.
Project-wise, nothing's hit me yet where it's like, oh, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I always had this one that I wanted to do portraits in a town.
Like people that
go to
there?
a town.
Yeah.
Like Iola, or I mean, maybe not Iola. Iola's a little bigger, but a smaller town, and basically just set up a little thing, or have a little portable sort of light system, and simply take portraits of the people in the town, which I think would be really cool.
Right.
I don't know that they would think it was very cool, right? And when you shoot, I really had fun shooting the race cars.
Yeah.
And I did shoot a carnival on the way out to Colorado. I went to a carnival and shot the Midway, and that was a blast. The carny thing, there's a part of me that's like, man, if you could swing on with a crew, with my own car, of course.
You would want to be in your own car.
In my own hotel.
Yes.
I
could probably set you up with a carnival.
Oh, really? I'd like that.
I might be able
but
to.
I think like a 2 or 3 week sort of going and having access to shoot them and the people that are there, where you'd have like, I'm sure that they have all kinds of, like if you're on their premises, they can use you for promotional purposes, those kind of things.
Right.
I think that would be awesome, because there's a joy that always comes with the carnival, right? There's, like teenagers trying to figure out how to court one another, and it's a mix of folks.
Oh yeah.
You got some farm folks and you got some city folks, and so I think that would be great. And you have the whole thing of like rigged games and like somewhat unsafe. The rides.
Dismantling and construction of the rides off the back of the trucks. Yes, yeah.
There is that.
There is a lot of stuff that goes into carnivals. Yes, it's a world I know all too well, especially the game part.
But I think that would be. I think that if I were, to me, that's more interesting. I kind of want to learn how to photograph people.
Yeah.
I've always photographed things. But I don't know. The thing is, I want it to be secret. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, hey, smile.
Yeah.
Like sneaking up on them. But then that creates a whole other host of ethical issues.
You want to try to capture
street photography, but not like downtown.
I got you. That's because
like
you want
rural.
it to be kind of just, you're there, but you're not like not like a part of it, but you're just an observer.
I'm just an observer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
just
not trying to make
observer.
something happen. I'm not posing something. I'm just like kind of watching and then shooting.
And
although that sounds bad, like I'm watching and
well, but I mean,
shooting.
if that's you have the camera and you're going around watching and shooting stuff. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean,
true.
it's not any other way.
So voyeuristic, really.
It really is, but
I'm trying not to think of it in a bad way.
But it'd be voyeuristic if you were just going around shooting people with no centralized purpose. Like, if you were actually with
and
a
blowing up the pictures.
Yeah,
and,
like, look, I was on the street the other night. You're not going to believe what I captured, right? There's a difference. Like, you don't have a central focus.
I don't have a little room where I have a map and little strings tying things together.
What do you think about, so if the photography side of it is really like, you have more things you want to shoot and everything, where do you see, I mean, like, I always... Whenever I talk to writers, I'm like, are you going to write a book? Are you going to put your stuff in the book? Or are you going to try to go that route? Or because I've always been told that I should write a book, and I'm just kind of like,
should write a book.
I probably should write a book, and it's
a funny book.
I could very well do that. We'll have to see. But I mean, what do you? The photography seems very important.
When I did the first project, and I had things here and then things in Lawrence, I wrote a letter to University Press of Kansas, and basically a query letter. I had known some people over there from back in my old KU alumni magazine days, and I got a response actually fairly quickly. I mean, it was no.
Yeah. The no responses are always quick.
But they liked it.
Yeah.
Like, we really like this. This is not something we do.
Yeah.
And I just haven't pursued it. I think that with the advent of self-publishing, that the smartest thing I could do would probably be to take this last project, put it into a book of, X amount of pages,
right,
and sell them on my own, or drop them in the bookshop, or do it at Barnes and Noble. I mean, I think would probably be my best bet. The other option.
But does that matter to you? Does it like?
Not really.
Not really. Yeah.
No.
But
I mean,
so
it doesn't.
If it doesn't,
Like, there's a part of me that's like, well, if you have all these images, like, why don't you do like Getty stock, or try to get in with an interior designer, or But it's not why I started doing it. Right. I started doing it because it wasn't my job.
Right.
So it's like, I want to do something that's satisfying for me.
Yeah.
But there's always that little tug, like, hey, you should get paid. Hey, you need to get paid. Or, hey, what about this? Maybe you should try this.
Yeah.
So, it's the same thing, like, should I go to an art show or something like that? And I just, I think I'm tempted more to keep it mine and then worry about, like, if I had a manager.
Yeah.
If I had a manager, then they could take care of that for me.
Or a publicist.
I have a publicist, an agent and stuff. Like, had all that stuff, then I'd be set. I wouldn't have to do. I'd just be like, here's some pictures. You go do with them what you want.
Yeah.
But I don't really see that happening.
Yeah.
Anytime soon. Yeah, I don't know. But I think
if I
for
would have
now,
won the air guitar competition, I'd have a manager and a publicist right now.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Would you have a hype man? Maybe you could have a hype man. That'd be the best. Like, before you come out, just some guys like, Cole.
Yeah. No. See, I don't want a hype man because I want to take everyone by surprise. I want it to be kind of like a.
You don't need, like, now introducing the eighth wonder of the world.
No. I want it to be like, people see this guy walk in, and then they're like, wait, what is happening right now? Like to where they're like, everybody stops, like, has to take notice.
I got it.
Like, I want
the hype man.
aura.
The hype man does defeat that.
Yes.
Rather soundly.
Yeah, because then it's totally hyping you up, and then what if it's a total letdown?
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
You could do
the hidden dangers of the. I never really stop to consider the implications
of a hype man.
Of a hype man. You really go south very fast.
You're not gonna believe this next guy.
Yeah,
my god,
he's terrible.
They're honking the horn and everything.
Throwing tomatoes.
So we should get you a manager and a publicist.
Yeah, I need a manager and a publicist, and then maybe you could do an agent at the same time, I guess.
That'd be fun.
It would be, and I think that I've really enjoyed doing the photography, and I've kind of taught myself, and I look at some of my older work and I just kind of grimace. I think that it would be fun to be a full-time photographer, but I just think I think it's just not. I don't think I'm not sure that I'm good enough, and two, it's just like it's a hard business. It's like I was a freelance writer for a long time, and that was not pleasant. I mean, you're hustling and doing everything you can to get a check, and taking jobs that you don't really want to do because you need the money. And I have to think that trying to make it as a photographer, you'd end up in the same. You kind of end up in the same boat. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna shoot carnivals and alleys and junkyards, but that's like, you're not getting money from that, so you've got to, shoot something else, sort of commercially.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just don't. I'm not sold that I'd necessarily have the chops to do that full time on a project basis where I have some time to work on stuff and like kind of, think about how I want to frame something. Then maybe so.
Yeah. So you just got to find your next project.
Just gotta find. I think the carnival one is good. Or I could just do hype men. just portraits of hype men.
Yeah. Oh, now that. Yeah. I'm
like before the fight, like the guy, like black and white before the fight.
Yeah.
Like dude with the hat. The guy who holds the belt. Like that guy.
Yes, that guy. Or I was thinking even like go into like one of those weird like those independent hip hop artist concerts where the guy just comes out on stage, before and he's just like, "Oh, you're not gonna believe who's next. Get ready.
That guy.
It's time." Yeah, that could be pretty impressive too.
Yeah, just thinking about that, it's like I wonder. I think it would be fun to shoot boxing. Actually,
boxing.
I like boxing more than MMA. So, like, I'm one of those like old school, boxing. I understand boxing.
Very primitive. It hasn't changed much. It
hasn't.
It's the same.
It is the sweet science, and it's not a street fight.
No.
Which is sort of like what MMA is.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize.
Well, I don't know enough about it. Like, there's
hopefully
plenty of rules.
There's not a lot of MMA enthusiasts listening to your podcast, so that they'll tell me about how wrong I am about MMA. It's an art.
Well,
okay.
You punch and kick, right? And you can take down. It's a combination of. It's mixed.
You can use your elbow.
Artist. Yes, there's many different ways that you can do it. Boxing would be cool.
Fast. You'd have to be close.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are a handful of things that would be fun to shoot, and maybe sometime I'll find a boxing gym and go shoot a boxing gym.
Just a matter of going out and doing it.
I have thought too about shooting like at a business. So,
you're giving away all your projects here.
Yeah, maybe I should be quiet. I'm going to be quiet now. I'm not going to say any more about my projects.
Wait, hold on. You're going to a business and then
they're secret
taking
projects.
Pictures of people?
So, there's a fellow in town who's a mechanic.
Okay.
And has a shop over by kind of the boulevard. And I asked him, 2, 3, 4 years ago, like, hey, could I come in and shoot?
Yeah.
Because he has like 3 or 4 guys working for him.
Yeah.
And like tell their story. Like, here's what they do. Here's just for them, really. And really for me, just kind of practice.
Yeah.
You go spend a day with some mechanic dude, so you'd have wrenches and engines and fuel pumps.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I kind of really don't want to plan too much because then
you never know.
know.
I mean, it's a spur of the moment type deal.
It's definitely spur of the moment.
And, you go and you make it happen, and then you see what comes of it. You can't predict how it's going to turn out. You just go and do it. And even if it turns into practice, that's still good practice because basically you're learning more things about how you shoot and how you do photography, and you'll get better at it as you go on. And that's no different for whether you're writing music, all that type of stuff. So very exciting.
Thanks.
Exciting. I'm interested to see how this progresses because the Plains project is very cool. I read a lot. I saw. I looked at a bunch of the photos. It's very well done.
Thank you. It was a labor of love.
That is the podcast.
I had no idea So getting 350 pictures that you think are worth a darn is hard enough.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
because you can shoot 1,000 photos and only get one good one.
My percentage is a little better than that. But
thank goodness.
But mine is not. I would say if I get 10%, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's lower than that.
Yeah.
But so, you know, and then there are times where you think like, oh, these will turn out great, and then they're terrible.
Yeah.
Or there are times where you're in a hurry and you're not. It's just like there's so many sort of like you're hot. What time of day is it? You know, who or what is around? Who are you talking to? Who are you not talking to? How dangerous is it to go inside this building?
Are the walls falling down?
Is it okay if I walk up this pile of bricks into this abandoned building where the wall's out? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Because it was really rich, and the woman at the cafe said that the landlord lived in Vegas. So.
There you go.
Well, clearly I wasn't the first one there. So, yeah, those are the kind of things that happen when you're out and about in western Kansas, and you have central Kansas, and you have, you know, Missouri plates and a Prius. It's just not a good, like, who's this guy?
Who's this guy walking around with a camera? He's driving a Prius.
Yeah,
what's going
city
on
boy,
here?
You know. So I always make sure to tell him that I'm that my granddad ran cattle near Culver. That's a good. And you don't say he raised cattle.
Yeah.
He ran cattle.
Yeah.
You say raised cattle, they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
What, did he lift him up? You know.
He lifted cattle? Is he a strong man?
Yeah. He's in the carnival.
There you go. We are going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. And you want to take the Casey quiz when we come back?
Absolutely, I'm ready for it.
All right, we'll be right back here on the Kansas City Podcast. Hey everyone, Cole here. Once again, want to give another. You know, I'm still reminiscing about this air guitar competition, so I want to send a big shout out to Eric Mean Moline, which if you have not listened to the air guitar episode, go back, take a look. I think it's number, who knows? I have a computer in front of me. I could always take a look. It was episode number 27 with Mean Moline. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. If you ever get a chance to go do something like that and witness in person, it is a lot of fun. If you like the show, maybe you're listening for the first time, hey, give us a subscribe. A review on iTunes is always great. Rate us some 5 stars. Tell your friends. Tell them to check out the website. You know, the more people that listen, the happier man that I am. So thank you for listening to today's show, and now it's time for the Casey Quiz with Mark Luce. Welcome back to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindbergh, here with Mark Luce. Mark, thank you for joining us here on the show today.
My pleasure.
We've spent a lot of time. Mark, before we get to the KC quiz today, I was hoping that you might be able to help me, because I had someone reach out to me and they said, hey, Cole, I really enjoy listening to the podcast while I'm going out for a run. So I was hoping that you could help me. You know, maybe we could give those runners out there like some good like motivation to really hitting their stride. Can you help me out with that real quick?
You're almost there.
You're almost... Hold on,
maybe you should try harder.
Your pace is good.
Your pace is fine, I guess.
That hill in front of you, you're gonna get up that hill.
Man, I bet your feet hurt.
Power through. We're supposed to be encouraging here.
Grit your teeth. Clench your fists. It'll make it a lot easier if you're not relaxed.
You can drink water in a half mile. You can drink water in a half mile. Go, 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 go.
All right. That's funny.
Yes. I'll add some music underneath that there, so that'll really like some Rocky type. Come on, you can get up that hill. Get up the hill.
I like it.
I like it too. Hey, Mark, do you want to take the Casey quiz?
Absolutely.
right, it's time for the KC quiz. Mark, you know how this works. I'm going to ask you questions. Kansas City related questions, obviously.
Yes.
You will be rewarded points. Remember, if I ask a question you do not like the question, all you have to say is stupid question. And remember, folks, you can tweet us at Kansas City Pod if you would like your question added to the KC quiz. Mark,
Got it.
we always start with this question. It's the first question. It's the most popular question, the one that causes, the most feedback. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your favorite restaurant that is not barbecue. Go for it. Your time to shine, sir.
Can there be more than one?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so for fancy dinner, Blue Stem.
Okay.
For warming the cockles of my heart, pot pie. Actually, they're right next door to each other, really.
Yeah. You hit them both in the day.
Yeah, and then, man, I love me some Town Topic.
Oh,
just
man.
I just kind of can't get it. I mean, part of it's the vibe, but I also really like. I think Corvino has good stuff. I love the Antler Room. Jasper still does awesome stuff. I'm a regular at Rye. It's like I like my food.
You like your food. What's your like go-to meal? Like if I had to say to you right now, where are you heading? Where are you going? For your meal
like
that you can,
right now?
Yeah, like right now. Like what's the thing that like always sticks out in your mind? Like if I could have this more often, I'd be a happy person.
Well, the beef pot pie at Pot Pie is just, I think it's one of my favorite things in town. The problem is it's the summer. It's like I'm not going to eat a pot pie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I want to eat the pot pie, but like I'd have to be like locked in like a cooler or something.
Right.
Where I'd be like, without a coat, and then I'd be like, yes, this is great.
It's the winter time. It's time for pot pie.
I would say, that fried chicken at that Brookside Poultry Company.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, so good.
Good.
Yes, that might be that's like my new favorite place.
Gotcha.
Like that chicken is really good.
All right. So now the second part of this question.
Okay.
Favorite barbecue. What do you got?
Okay. So, and again, can I splice it up?
You can totally splice it up, but I mean,
all right,
if you have like a favorite, go all in, because there are some people that have been on the show and they've said no, there is just only one place to go. It's this place.
That is extremely close-minded.
You go here for the burn-ins. You go here for the ribs. You know. I mean, what do you got?
So I'll have several steps here.
Oh, okay. This is fine.
So for basically all 48 years of my life, I have been in search of the perfect French dip, and I've never made it.
Oh.
However, at Jack Stack, they have a French dip.
Yeah.
And it is sort of the platonic ideal of French dips.
Okay.
And so even though it's technically not like a barbecue dish, that is the best French dip sandwich on the planet.
Oh.
And so I'm putting that there because it is a barbecue place.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to beat the Z-Man at Joe's. I think that at Gates, the chopped up burn-end sandwich is like, I just love that.
Yeah.
And I think that over time, I've grown to love Gates regular sauce sort of most of all.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, it's not always like, that's not where I would go probably for ribs.
Yeah.
I would probably go to either Jack Stack or Joe's. The one place that I haven't been is Slaps. I've heard that it's nothing but good things about Slaps.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Slaps. I've not been there either yet.
I tend to go to Oklahoma Joe's, or Joe's Kansas City. Sorry, Joe's Kansas City. Joe's Kansas City. Joe's Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because I think
condition ourselves to.
Yes, I just think they're and there's one right over here in town center by my house. So. At the same time, it's like, Bryant's is still pretty darn good. And that really sauce is a little different, and but you get the fries and red cream soda, and it's like, I'd eat there kind of any day of the week. Do you know what I mean? It's there's just not, and I don't think that there's many bad places.
No, there's not.
And so for me, it's a matter of like, what's closest and what am I in the mood for?
I'm worried that we're about to hit peak barbecue. because there seems like there's more and more places, and I feel like I'm behind now on like I'm playing catch up to get to these new spots.
So, well, I'm with you. And then there's this other spot that I heard about last year where two women. It's up near Bonner Springs, and it's just like a little kind of hole in the wall. And it has two female pit bosses, or pit masters. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I'd go there in a second. But it's like figuring out, okay, so like where are you going to go? Like, okay, we're going to go have barbecue once a week for the whole summer.
Right.
And you're still not even close to hitting all the places that you haven't been.
Barbecue, man. Kansas City barbecue. I watched the Anthony Bourdain Kansas City when he was here in Kansas City. And he went to Joe's and everything. Cause, when he was, what did he say about Joe's? He said...
it's the best barbecue
in Kansas City, which makes it the best barbecue in the world. Yeah. And I was like...
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Here we go. Your favorite place to see live music?
I'm old now.
I know, but I mean, you could go back in time. Where do you want to go?
So I really liked going to the Record Bar when it was over near Westport.
Yeah.
Now I could be, private school English teacher and say, the Kaufman, of course. But
so uppity.
I think I would rather. A former student of mine is in this band called the Tennis System, and it's like shoegaze kind of Joy Division.
Yeah.
And they were through, and I went to the Record Bar on a school night.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the new space.
Yeah.
The thing is, I just don't go to as many concerts. I think all of the places are fine.
Yeah.
I think that the Folly is by far the most uncomfortable place to see. The Heartland Men's Chorus sings down there, and I have a couple friends in that, and I love seeing them, but it's just, you're scrunched in.
Yeah. And the balcony is weird too because you can't see the full stage.
Yeah, and you gotta get I get a little vertigo going.
Oh yeah,
I get up too steep, and I'm just like, I can't. But I would say if I was gonna go see a band, like in the old days, I would probably, the Record Bar would probably be, or the Bottle. I mean, I guess Bottleneck's not in Kansas City, but I always like going to the Bottleneck too.
Here we go. This is a question that was added to the Casey quiz a couple weeks ago. What's your favorite Casey smell?
Oh, man, that's easy. So Gates over here on basically 103rd and State Line is right next door to Fritz's Smoked Meats.
Yeah.
The smell over there in the morning is heavenly.
Oh.
Like it just... Like, I know that all the barbecue places smell good, but, like, this one, like, there's two in the same place.
Oh, between Gates and the Smoked Meats, it's like...
Right, you can't... They're right next door to each other.
Yes.
Oh, this is right by...
Yeah, it's right by you. Yeah.
So I think that is my... I love that.
Yeah, that's... Okay, I am with you on that one. Here we go. Your next question. You're at 8 points right now. You're doing really well.
Is that good?
That is really, really, really good. Here we go. Do you have a favorite local hangout? It's the weekend. Yeah, I know you don't get out much anymore. You've already said it, but I'll ask anyway. Your favorite place to just, let's go hang out,
Well, I am a fan of dive bars, so... Okay.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk dive bars.
Well, so... My little local bar over here is called the Daily Limit, and I like it. It's fine. It's just a little neighborhood bar.
Water and hole.
I like Flo's. I like Walsh's Corner Cocktail. I mean, basically Waldo. Patrick's, Flo's, and Corner Cocktail. I'm sort of a big fan of. There's a new place. There's a place down in the. Down by Voltaire, by the Kemper, called Lucky Boys that I just absolutely love. That place. That's like I walked in there and I'm like, I'm home. Yeah. That's like, yes. I'm with my Uncle Rick in the 70s at his like bar hangout, everybody's, he's like, you remember when you're a kid, it's like all these old dudes smoking right? And drinking Coors in a can. And so when I walked in there, I like a total flashback, like, I've been here. I think those are some of the places I like to go. Jen and I are pretty regular at Rye. They make the best drinks, I think, by far. Like, their drinks are really good.
Okay. Sports question.
Got it.
Put them in order. You ready?
Yeah.
Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mavericks.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's just brutal.
Your own ranking. You rank them however you want, but, you got to put them in order.
Oh, man.
This one is not supposed to be that hard.
I know.
It's really eating you up.
The Royals are so bad. I mean, it's just bad baseball. It's playing Moose at first, and you're trading away your best hitter a couple days ago. So I'm going to put the Royals 4 for now.
Okay.
I haven't been to a Mavericks game for a couple years, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that they did okay this year. So I guess I'll put them... Sporting's probably the best thing to go see, so I'm going to put Sporting at 1, and I'll put the Mavericks at 2 and the Chiefs at 3, just to be contrarian.
Okay, second part of that question. What year will the Royals win another World Series?
Oh, man, I need to consult some astrology charts. I don't... I would guess it's going to be 20... At least 23 years. At
least 23 years. Wow.
They're bad.
So we're looking at...
Like, they're borderline historically bad. Like, this reminds me...
2041.
Do you remember, like, when everything went downhill in the 90s, and, like, every time you'd go to the Royals game, they would lose, and the other team would score, like, 9 runs in the first inning, and you'd just like, why did I come?
Yeah.
And the tickets really weren't that expensive. Well, now we've had this, like, awesome run.
Yeah. And the tickets have not gone down. They're still super expensive.
I know.
Yeah.
$40 for upper. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And to watch Witt play center and Moose play first, like, no, I'm not. No. And Paulo Lando DH. No, I'm not. And you just see the sort of contours of, like, we're going to be bad for a long time.
Yes.
And I just can't. I can't take it after watching good baseball.
But that's usually what happens after you do win a World Series.
I know.
All right, so 2041. Okay, third part of that question. What year will the Chiefs win a Super Bowl?
Oh, never. Never. Are you kidding me? Never.
It's not going to happen?
The football gods hate them. Like, the football gods just frown upon the Chiefs. I don't know what they did somewhere, or like if the football gods are mad because Len Dawson smoked in the locker room that one time.
That famous photo.
Yeah, that famous photo.
Okay.
But no, they'll never win. Okay. I don't see that happening ever.
Okay.
I thought it would have happened by now. In fact, it should have happened by now.
And it didn't.
And it's always like it's field goal. It's like some boneheaded play. It's
yeah.
You know,
like time management stuff like that. Yeah.
Andy Reid, clock management specialist.
I'm going to give you 5 points for that one. This was another question that was added a couple weeks ago by Kate Morris, who was on the show here. She said, "What's your favorite brewery? What's your favorite brew? Do you, like, I always kind of like local brewer, but do you got
I'm
a
more
place
of a
go?
So I'm more of a spirits man than a brewer than a beer fellow.
Okay.
However, I did really like the Brewery Imperial down there by I don't know what street it's on. It's basically sort of catty corner from Grinders. It's down in that sort of neck
like
of the woods.
Double shift or what is?
So if you're at Grinders and you went south,
okay.
If you went a little bit west and then a little bit south, I just can't remember the cross street. I want to say it's like maybe 18th.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. But Brewery Imperial I thought was really good. It's the same dudes who run Room 39.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's a good one. The beer hall at Boulevard is just, so I just think that's a really cool place to hang out. And then for spirits, about a year ago, old college roommate and I went on a tour of Lifted Spirits.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that tremendously, and I think that their gin is really pretty good. Tomstown might have the best gin though. Their gin's really good. Super floral. I like it.
Cool. What's Kansas City missing? What are we missing?
NBA, man. That's easy.
NBA?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be the best.
Happen?
No, I don't, and it makes me very sad.
What do you think? Do you think we'll get an NHL team first, or an
NBA
that
team? One
team?
time we almost had the Penguins. Like we
almost
had the Penguins.
Yes.
And then stupid Mario Lemieux comes in and like saves the day for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Jerk.
You don't think we'll get one ever?
No, I don't. I mean, I think that the next town up for basketball, I think will be Seattle since they lost the Supersonics. But when the NBA expands, I'm kind of a junkie. So when the NBA expands, they're going to expand 2. They won't expand 1. And right now, it kind of looks like Louisville might be that other thing. The longer we wait, the less attractive the Sprint Center is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
because the Sprint Center will get older.
To me,
and then,
you know, everybody around here is like loves college basketball and loves KU basketball, as do I.
Yes.
But the league, it is a great entertainment product. Like, it's so fun to go to an NBA game. There's always stuff going on.
I've never been to an NBA game.
It's a blast. Because
basically
it's the best.
Like when I was watching NBA, I always got mad because I was like, they don't play defense.
But they do. See, that's the thing.
See, and that's the thing. I don't see it. All I see is the high scoring, and I'm like, oh, that's a really impressive shot. But like, you're not really hustling down the court on a full court press.
I understand. I understand. But I think I think an NBA team would be. That would be awesome.
How do you feel about streetcar?
Love streetcar. Streetcar's cool.
More streetcar?
Yeah. I want streetcar coming out here. Actually, I want the one. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of Mr. Chastain, but the idea of having something from downtown to the airport seems to me a no-brainer. I think the streetcar should come. It should at least be to the Plaza or UMKC.
Yeah.
I think that kind of stuff makes a difference. And I think people, like, oh, haha, it's a streetcar. How quaint. It's like, no, you're actually moving people around.
Yeah.
Right? And you're fostering like people coming downtown and spending money. And, it really helps the river market. I think you hop on at Union Station and roll down the river market and have dinner and maybe have a cocktail and then pop back.
Yeah.
How great is that?
It's huge.
Don't like parking on the street when that's there. Scares me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're getting in the spot.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm only going to park on that street if I can go straight in. If I have to parallel, no way. It's scary. If it's behind you, has it ever been behind you? Like when you're at a light?
It's never been behind me. I've always kind of gotten like I've kind of like stopped parking on Main. If I'm going downtown, I'll find another spot because there's plenty of parking. Like everywhere you just gotta. But like, there was one time where I was driving down the road and I was actually behind the streetcar, and I was like,
does it have brake lights? I never.
Oh yeah, it's got total brake lights and everything, but it's still kind of like, since it's so big and it's moving, and it kind of like took me by surprise because you're like, I don't want to run into this thing. Please don't let me run into this thing. I don't want to rear end the streetcar. I was getting a little worried.
Well, remember early on when they were still practicing, they had some doofus parked outside the lines and took his door off or whatever. Into it.
Yes.
I think that I wish our public transit was even more accessible and came farther out. I think that would be a good thing.
You're doing great here, Mark. Let's go back to sports again. What's the greatest KC athlete of all time? Who's the greatest Kansas City athlete of all time?
Oh, I mean, so when I was a little kid, my first cat, my second cat actually, my first cat was named Smokey, and Smokey ran away, and it made me very sad.
Okay.
It's a farm cat.
I thought for a second you were going to say that your cat was the greatest athlete.
Cat is the greatest. Smokey the cat was the greatest Kansas City athlete.
You would not believe how he jumped off of that table.
No, but my second cat, so I was probably 6, was George Brett.
Okay.
So I have actually written in more than one magazine about my desire someday to meet George Brett. And it still hasn't happened, so I might as well do it again. It's like, so someday maybe I'll meet George Brett because he is my He was my favorite baseball player, along with. I mean, he's my number one favorite baseball player, along with Robin Yount was my other one. Gotcha. And so, like if you're in terms of like athlete, like Bo Jackson would be the best athlete.
Yeah.
But George Brett's is Kansas City baseball.
Yeah. 5 points. Well done. Here we go. This is your chance now. You can ask me a question. Do you have a question for me, Mark?
Yes, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite painting at the Nelson?
What's my favorite painting at the Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Is that too hard?
That's a tough one because it's been a long time since I've been to the Nelson. But I can tell you this. That's because I remember going down there as a little kid, and I remember always being just completely infatuated with the shuttlecocks. Just totally, just like going out there.
They're so cool.
Like and I was always just kind of like blown away because I was like,
why are they so giant?
Why are they? Yes, exactly. And you walk up to them, and I always I remember being a little kid and being like, these are giants. There are giants playing out on the field, and wondering, like, how did these get here? Why are they here? Why are they so big? That will always stick out. So I don't know if I can answer my favorite painting.
But
that's by far the thing that sticks out in my mind when I think of.
Can I ask you one more question?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you're recently married?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you have to plan a date night that includes stops at least 3 venues. So drinks, dinner, something afterwards.
Okay.
What you got?
Okay, so this one...
And it doesn't have to be it's not necessarily romantic date. It could be like
a fun...
date, fun date.
Okay, so I think if it were me and my wife, because we like going and trying new places and stuff, but we also have kind of our favorites,
go-tos,
right?
Yeah.
So I think I kind of think it was if I was planning a fun, let's just call it a Kansas City day,
okay,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, I would want to go eat at Joe's.
Okay.
And I would go to the gas station.
Sure.
We'd go wait in line,
right,
eat at Joe's, and have an awesome, delicious meal. Okay. Then from there, I would go to. I think it'd be fun to go. I love going to Uptown, not just because I think it's a cool place, but I love going and playing pinball at Uptown.
You ever been to 403?
I haven't been to 403 yet.
403 is awesome for pinball.
Is it
it's
really?
It's a little more expensive because there's space.
Yeah.
They have 8 tables. They're in immaculate condition.
Okay, so then I need to go take a look.
Basically
at that.
just across over 7th, down 7th Street.
Yeah.
In KCK, you could actually come across the bridge. You take the back way through the bottoms,
yeah,
and it's right there.
So then after that, I would hop on the streetcar. And we would go. Well, crap. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah,
you could
streetcar just down the street from
somewhere. I think we would go. I think this is by far one of my favorite places in town, and I love going there. I love going to the Alamo Drafthouse to see a movie.
Oh, that's a great.
I love going to Alamo.
Sure.
We would go see a movie at Alamo. We love going to the Alamo, and then maybe finish the night off with some drinks at Green Lady Lounge.
Yeah, that place is awesome.
That place is so cool.
I don't even think I'm not cool enough to go. When I go in there, I feel like I'm not cool enough to be in this place.
I feel the exact same way. I always feel that way. And I've been in there, a handful of times. But when I walk in, I'm just I am there are some really cool people here,
yes,
and I am not one of them. Yeah. Okay, so let's reverse it now. Your favorite piece at the Nelson-Atkins?
Oh, I love the Caravaggio.
Yeah.
But I think that my favorite piece might be there's an El Greco of. It's like a friar or something that I really like. There's 2 El Greco paintings there. And there's another one I think of Mary kind of looking up. I love the Rothko. I love the Giacometti. I like the new Candy Wiley piece that they have there. It's like a dude. It's like pink and a dude's dressed in a Dallas Cowboys jersey and it's humongous, 9 feet tall. It's pretty awesome.
Wow. God,
so those would be some of mine.
Forever, man. I need to go.
And then the date night would be Actually, so we would do 403
Okay.
to play pinball.
Yeah.
And hop over to Voltaire.
Okay.
Because it's like, that's my favorite room in the whole city. Like, it's such a nice space. Yeah. Voltaire for kind of drinks and small plate kind of dinner. And then we'd be Ubering, so maybe a stop for an early nightcap, like somewhere like Green Lady, and then stop at the piano room over here on Warnell and listen to everybody singing. Like, I love that place. So
that's nice.
And then home. I think that'd be a good like, you'd make your way from KCK all the way back down to South Kansas City.
Yeah. Did you hear about so a while back I had here on the show, we had Matt Basinger, who from Swell Spark, who does Blade and Timber, the axe throwing place.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
It's pretty cool, right?
It is.
Did your arms hurt the next day?
Not as much as I thought it would.
Okay.
Not I originally started by doing the two-handed throw, and then I moved to the one-handed. And once I figured out how to let go of it and when to let go of it, I got a lot better. Like, I started hitting the little blue circle.
Yeah.
Like, I hit it like 3 out of 4 times. I was so excited, like jumping up and down.
Nice.
It was sort of sore.
Yeah.
But not as much as I thought it would be.
Pretty cool place, right? Did you read the article about the thing that they're going to do in the River Market? I'm going to try to reach out to them. They're doing a choir bar, or it's called like a choir bar, and it's like a thing, and you go in, and basically they're going to teach. Like, they're trying to get like 200 people, and they teach them like an entire choir song in like 3-part harmony, and you hang out and you have fun and you drink, and then you learn the whole thing, and then there's a performance or whatever. Have you heard about this?
No.
It sounds. I feel like I'm not.
That's
doing
like almost
justice.
crazy enough to work.
Well, I know. That's why I need to get him on the show again to talk about this. It's really interesting.
Well, I know that they opened.
Stuff.
I know that they opened. They're opening Blade and Timbers. Like, they're kind of going to start opening quick. There's one in Wichita.
Yeah.
And I guess they do escape rooms as well.
Yeah, they do escape rooms. Yeah.
So that's like pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, no, I was thinking about this. I'm thinking about like new. Like, there's always something new popping up, you know. And like, I feel like
that would be a. I don't know. I don't know.
I gotta get more details.
I'm trying to think if I would. I would probably do that once.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go see what this is all about.
Yeah.
And it might be really fun.
That's true. All right, so this leads me to one of our we have 2 questions left. So what's the this is a popular one. Like, what's the one thing in town that everybody should try once? Like, if you you can think of this question multiple
like somebody
ways.
coming in from out of town.
Like, what do they need to go do?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is like have a Z-Man. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's a good answer. I mean, that's.
You know, I think have a picnic on the lawn at the Nelson with the shuttlecocks would be one, or I think the World War I Museum is really. I mean, I get that it's not particular to Kansas City. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm hanging out in Kansas City, but that's sort of where it is.
Museum.
I think that either one of those would be. I would kind of put up there, and again, any barbecue, of course, but like that's too.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say that, but I think the World War I Museum or the lawn at the Nelson. I would not advise going into that glass maze. They get all dizzy and.
Yeah.
My kids love it. I did it once, and it's like, get me out of here. You know.
You getting claustrophobic?
Yeah, very.
So I shouldn't ask you your favorite ride at Worlds of Fun.
Oh, I'm happy to answer that, but it's like my answers are going to date me. So my all-time favorite ride at Worlds of Fun is the Zambezi Zinger.
Yeah,
That's the only answer,
yes.
right? But yeah, it's gone. And then my second favorite was the first upside-down roller coaster I ever went on, which is the Scream Roller.
Yep.
And then my third favorite roller coaster at Worlds of Fun was the Orient Express.
Yes.
I have ridden the Timberwolf. I have ridden that other one that's like gigantic. What's it?
Mamba.
Yeah, I just said Python. Like, I was like, and those are fine.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's those first ones, like your introduction to roller coasters has sort of speaks to me more than, I don't think I've been to Worlds of Fun for 7-8 years.
I went on a really long tweet storm the other day because Worlds of Fun has been teasing Zambezi Zinger for a while.
Or were they going to redo it?
Well, I don't know if they're going to. I don't know all the rumors. There's tons of rumors because like they're at this point where eventually they're going to build another roller coaster, right? Like it's been since 2009 they've had a roller coaster, and so the park has all these like T-shirts in the gift shops now, like they're old retro T-shirts. They have like a PJ Panther T-shirt. They have a Zinger T-shirt, like Scream Roller shirt. Like they brought up some of the old logos, and I think someone had posted that I think it was when Big Slick was in town, and they posted saying like, "Oh, we'll only go to Worlds of Fun if you bring back the Zambezi Zinger." And then whoever runs Worlds of Fun's Twitter, I don't know who it is now,
was like,
they kind of like did like a winky face, like or like that emoji where it's grabbing the chin.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you better be careful. Like I'm not kidding. I went on a total tweet storm about like if you're going to tease this, you have to understand like what you are doing right now because there are a lot of people.
That was a fun roller coaster.
It was a great roller coaster,
and it was scary, and you
there's a tunnel. You got to know somebody.
Yeah, she did get to know someone.
I think that's what Kate Hogan said on the show a week ago.
I really liked going there when I really liked going there when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and even went there a little bit in college. Like I always had kind of fun going there.
Been there many times.
I know.
Here we go. Final question.
All right,
it's time for the Google challenge. As I do, I go to the Google machine. I type in something, and you have to help fill in the autofill here.
All right. Got it.
I was originally going to do something like the planes are, but like there are no good like Google autofill.
Yes,
boring. Or like I think the first was the planes are formed by, and it's like okay, well that's not. But earlier,
plate tectonics.
Yeah, sure. We were talking about carnivals earlier.
Yes.
And we were talking about carnies. So I typed in carnies are, and I spelled carnies C-A-R-N-I-E-S. So carnies are, what do you got? Finish that off.
How dirty is your show? Syphilitic, is that a word?
Remember, this is Google, so I don't know if they're going to go that advanced.
It's scary.
Scary.
That's going to be my guess.
That's your final answer?
That's my final answer.
That is actually third on the list.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Carnies are creepy is the first one.
Oh, okay. Say yeah.
And then scum. Scum. Number 2 is scum. So, it's not the best connotation, I guess you could say. But it's creepy, scum, and scary. So,
could be clowns too, right?
Carnies are vagabonds. There's a lot of different
nomads.
Yeah, nomads. Mark, let me tally up your total here. You did very well today.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm gonna take.
It's a very sophisticated algorithm you're using there to figure the score.
I don't like people to know that I have an abacus, but I bring it out during this time. 48 points.
Right on.
That is incredible.
Thank you.
Well, that may be a new high score.
Right on.
I'll have to look at it on the leaderboard online. Go check it
wait.
out. Mark, thank you for taking the Casey
quiz. My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, we're nearing the end of our time today here on the Kansas City Podcast. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show today. This is now your time to shine, okay? It is your time to tell people where they can find you, information about you. It's your plug section.
Okay.
The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Well, if you would like to see some of these photos, if you go to planes with the dash project.net, you can read these stories and see these photographs, and there's contact information there if you would like to get a hold of me. That's pretty much all I've got.
And we will link to it from our website, planes-project.net. Remember, folks, you can always find me on Twitter at Cole Lindbergh. Check out our website, thekansacitypodcast.com, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Kansas City Pod. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show today.
It was my pleasure. It was fun.
It was fantastic. Do you have any final words of wisdom to send us out for the?
No, I really don't have.
You really don't. I don't either. I'm going to go put an ice pack on my neck because I'm still dying right now. Too much headbanging, and there will probably be some photos circulating.
Probably
on the internet.
You probably need like a 3-4 day recovery period from the initial foray into the air guitar land.
I mean, I did practice a little bit, like in the living room, like getting the song, getting it figured out. I think I just, I was just like, I got to go really hard now.
Yeah. And
I think that I just I didn't realize my own power.
Yeah, it probably reminds you of the importance of stretching.
Yep. I can 100% confirm that, yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next time here on the Kansas City Podcast.